Order. Roll call. Mr. Hines is present. Mr. Jackson. Jordan not on yet. Mr. Weddle,
Yes.
Mr. Paddock.
Yes.
All right, we do have a quorum. So we will first look at the meeting minutes from the February 11th meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review it? And does anybody have any questions?
I had no questions and I'd make a motion we approve.
Well, I can second that one.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes. Do we have any audience requests? All right, Jordan, I see him on here. Hey, Jordan.
Yeah, I just got here.
There you
Yeah.
go. All right. Good deal. I will take that as a no audience requests. And we will move to the airport manager report. Rick,
Good evening, everyone.
good evening.
So things have been running pretty good lately. So our February fuel sales were up 28% for 100 low lead and 53% for Jet A. So we're up year to date 2,300 gallons and 3,100 gallons for Jet A. 63% of that was our contract fuel that was sold for that. Turbine traffic shows a decline, even though our fuel sales are up. So I'm not, maybe we're not catching all of ISP's flights or something like that since they moved down to the south, but we're trying to pay a little more attention to that. But then as far as the airport redevelopment, the North Hangar project, the gate 4 automation is complete. And I've left a message for the company that's supposed to be doing the final grading to get them scheduled out here for spring so they can final grade the property and seed it. And then the contractor that's installing the bathrooms and the heaters are hung and operational now. Yesterday, Vectron came and put the meters on, and we started the radiant heaters up in those to check them in the new hangars, and they seem to be working fine. The bathrooms, he was working on mudding the drywall and getting it ready to paint. The gate 2, the opener for it quit working. So I got a quote and got one ordered to be installed as soon as it comes into stock. The contractor said he'd be out to install it. I got to coordinate with ISP on that too, because they have some equipment hooked up to that gate, powering their cameras and light for that gate too. So, but I think they've already disconnected their equipment. And then lastly, I was working with HR to update our emergency response procedures.
Is that just routine update or is there something that prompted that?
Well, we had a accident out here last Friday evening that on landing, an airplane went off the runway and flipped over. So just doing, reviewing everything so we can keep up to date and do everything good the next time so we're better prepared. So,
All right. I hadn't heard anything about that. I assume everybody's okay.
yeah, there was 2 passengers on board. One guy had a small cut to his head and had that stitched up at the hospital. But other than that, everybody was fine. Just had to wait for the FAA to investigate the scene a little bit at the site so we could remove it. So the airport was closed down for about 5 hours while we were waiting on the FAA and NTSB so we can get the authorization to move it. So the airplane's in one of our hangars now, awaiting the release for NTSB to release it, make sure that they've got all their information they need for their investigation.
Was
But
it
yeah,
a plane or somebody from somewhere?
it was a transient airplane. He was actually bringing back someone that's based out of here, but
Oh.
so the passenger was based out of here, but he wasn't flying. It was one of his friends that was picking him up from dropping his plane off to get maintenance done. So that guy flew and picked him up and brought him back home, and the wind caught it and they kind of lost control.
Yeah.
So it was a little 2-seater tailwheel plane. So yeah, that kind of prompted to review everything, make sure all our numbers and stuff like that are up to date on who to call and whatnot.
That'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
All right. Thank you, Rick.
Yep, you're welcome.
Corporate counsel, Sergey with us?
I don't see, but he was supposed to be.
Anybody here on Sergey's behalf?
We got, I mean, I can do them if needed. I know what the items are. Oh. So,
Is there any, Rick, before you get started, is there any committee we can appoint Sergey to while he's not here?
we just have we have a service contract for some emergency plumbing services that ISP had. They basically had a clogged drain in the front bathrooms that was causing some problems. So I had to call a plumbing service to come out and get that taken care of. So that's the first contract. I think we'll probably need approval for that. I think
Yeah, he's got a proposed motion here.
Comfort systems?
yes, that's
Yeah. Well, I would
yeah,
move to
Comfort Systems.
ratify the contract with Contract Systems or Comfort Systems USA as presented and authorize the airport manager to execute on the board's behalf.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
And second is service contract for the installation of this gate number 2 operation system, what I talked about earlier in my report. And that is with ProGate LLC.
You want a motion?
Yes, please. Motion to approve.
I move to ratify an agreement with ProGate as presented and authorize the airport manager to execute on the board's behalf.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
And then the third item is the last 2 items actually are both the farm leases that we do annually with Mark Myers and Kenneth Lindsay. And Mark Myers farms 41.5 acres here on the field. So I'd like to see if we get a motion to approve Myers cash farm lease for 2021.
Okay. Well, I would so move that we approve a cash farm lease to Mark Myers for 2021.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
The second one's going to be similar. I'd like to ask a motion to propose that we approve the cash farm lease for 2021 for Kenneth Lindsay. He farms 13 acres out here.
Well, I would then move that we approve a farm lease for Kenneth Lindsay for 13 acres for the 2021.
And I'll second that one.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
I'll let the-
Mr. President, I apologize. I
Hey.
just joined the meeting. I was completely stuck on 65 with the rain. I just got home. I apologize. I know I'm very, very late.
Not a problem at all. We did decide that from here forward, the grounds would be mowed with tweezers, and you were put in charge of that in your absence.
My God.
So no problem.
Not sure if it's fair, but I guess I'll have to take my punishment.
Wait,
I just listed the approval for both service contracts, Sergey, and both farm leases. Was there anything else that we needed to include?
Rick, did you say you only requested the farm lease approvals?
And the approvals for the plumbing and the slide gate operations as well.
That's all I had. You had my back, so I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only four things I had. The only thing if I may add, for farm leases, exactly the same as last year. And we did carve out on the Myers parcel a little bit because of ISP hanger, but that was addressed last year as well. But I really don't have anything else to add. Again, I apologize for being late.
well, we thought about firing you, but Terry didn't break in a new lawyer, so.
Well, I appreciate that you didn't fire me.
Hang in there, bud. Thank you.
Oh, mercy. All right, so Sergey, is that everything for you?
That is everything from legal department. Yep.
Thank you. Next up is the controller financial report. Is Greg with us?
No, Greg, it's Jared today. So I think I sent you guys the email with the financials, but I'll go ahead and I think it's sometimes easier to share the screen too. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and I'll just walk through it real quick. So it looks like, so revenues for aviation this period was 84,000, the bulk of that being fuel revenue and hangar rental. Expenses for the period were 86,000. So we had a small loss of $2,000 on the month. And it looks like, you know, the biggest expenses were salaries and wages, and it looks like fuel were the biggest expense line items. Overall for the year, it looks like we're down about 114,000. And you can see it on here as well. The fund balance at the beginning of the year started at 571,000. Right now it's down to 456. And then the reserve ratio, we usually like it being around 50, and it's at 30. And just in case, if you guys don't know what the reserve ratio is, it's just essentially that 456, how much of that will cover the expenditures that are budgeted. So out of, you know, that 456 out of the 1.5 million up here is basically, you know, that's what our coverage is. So you have 450K to cover the 1.5 million budgeted for expenses. So last page looks like fuel revenue and base revenue. So it just kind of breaks out. Looks like we had revenue for fuel of 90, expenses for fuel of 60, which leaves you a net of 30. And then base, it looks like revenue of 73,000, expenses of 220, which cause a loss of about 146 year to date. So on just the base operations, with the total for fuel and base being down 114. So anybody got any questions? Nope.
Nope, don't think so.
You guys always like seeing the numbers. It's not boring, right?
Not these numbers.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't get to see January real well, but something happened in January where you guys started off a little rough, I think. So,
That was
Yeah.
the rent payment for the new hangars.
oh yeah, the
It was
it was like
like,
120K or something, or
Yeah,
100.
exactly.
Yeah, gotcha. Gotcha.
That's a big pill to swallow.
Mhm.
Yeah,
At least
yeah,
it's a one-time payment for the entire year, so.
yeah. That's good. Good, good, good.
Mhm.
All right, anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Thank you, Jared.
Yep, no problem.
Airport engineering report, is Susan on?
I'm on. Okay, fairly brief report tonight. The apron expansion project, the design, and that also supports environmental permit is moving forward. I've been working on the hydraulic structural design as well as setting some preliminary grades on the apron. Had some initial information from Blair and Rick on apron layouts that we've been working on, and then we'll be meeting with them to go over, a preliminary plan as to how to remark and shift parking on the apron to provide more space for the jets once it's expanded. So that's moving forward as expected. The FAA or the state, we've confirmed, has notice of your intent to use your 9 primary entitlements plus state apportionment towards the environmental mitigation 2021. Applications for that will be due in early May. So proceeding as expected. So any questions on the project? Okay, moving on to AIP invoices and pay requests. This is actually a credit memo. I found, and it's my keystroke error, so I'll take responsibility, that the FA's form leaves a 0 in and I missed getting it deleted. So on pay request 2, it was overpaid to the city. Scott has reviewed and signed the information. The FA signed the credit memo. So asking for the board to ratify it, and then we'll be working with Jared and Greg to get a check sent back to the FAA for the difference. Once that clears, then we can start doing pay requests again, but would ask the board to ratify approval of AIP 32 pay request to the credit memo and its submission to the FAA.
I would move that we ratify approval of AIP 34 pay request 2 and submission to FAA.
Yeah, sorry, I missed including, it's the credit memo for pay request 2.
Okay. I would include the credit memo in that approval request.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. And I'll be working closely with Rick and Jared on getting the check cut, because once we enter the credit memo, the FAA has to have the check within 30 days. We want to make sure it's ready to be in the mail when we enter the documents. From there, then just a summary of where we're at on grant funding status for AIP 32, which is stayed open for doing the environmental mitigation, and 34 that, and this shows the balance after the credit memo will clear. And then just the one other item wanted to mention, last month mentioned that there's I'll say CARES Act 2, or you may hear it referred to as CRISA, that will have, again, operational support to airports. It's a little more limited than the program, the CARES Act in 2020, but it covers operational expenses like payroll and debt service. Our understanding is similar to the previous year. The FAA will be sending out the grant applications for the board to make that application. As a regional airport for Greenwood, that would be in the amount of 23,000. And then today, the president signed was CARES Act 3 that has additional support. It should have 100% funding for 2021 grants, but we'll need the FAA interpretation of the language in there, but there should be some additional support coming forward with that. So we'll keep you informed as more information comes out, but a couple of items to help support operation at the airport if fortunately your traffic's been pretty solid, but still something to help. That's the end of my report unless there are any questions.
No question here.
All right,
Nope.
thanks.
Thank you, Susan. Do we have any board requests? All right. Bear with me here. We have a board docket in the amount of $75,602.25. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve?
I'll move that we approve the claims docket of 75,602.25.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Hey, Scott,
Yes, sir.
is Greenwood quit paying us?
You mean our monthly lottery winnings?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did they?
No, I didn't send them out last month. I actually wanted to talk to you guys to see if you wanted to switch things up because I know for a while we were having trouble getting them back and forth to each other. So I wanted to know if you wanted me to mail them to you physically instead, or if you would prefer me to keep emailing them to you.
Just email is fine.
Okay. That's
For
fine with
me,
me too,
anyway.
but I just wanted to see if it would be easier for you to do snail mail or if you wanted to do
Is,
email.
is an e-signature an option?
Rick?
That'd be a Sergey question.
That will be okay, yes.
I would much prefer that versus printing and signing and scanning.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
I'll get them all sent out.
Okay.
Perfect. Sounds like a couple of us are behind on our mortgage payment because we're not getting that 35 bucks.
Yeah.
Count on that.
Well, I borrowed mine from Terry, but because he's getting paid, the mayor's paying him.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of Terry, is he there?
Yeah, he's here.
Down here, that's why he's running me up the flagpole.
He's sitting over here in my chair.
Hi, Terry, you got a report for us?
I have nothing, just another good month for the airport. I appreciate all the work of all the employees to keep things on the uptick.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, well then, our next meeting is April 8th at 5:30 and we are adjourned. I appreciate everybody showing up.
Okay.
Thank
Good night,
you.
all.
Thank you, everybody.
See y'all.